First, the car carrying him was shot at, and about 15 seconds later, a Nissan pickup truck that was loaded with explosive blew up about 15 meters away from the car, inflicting wounds on him that led to his death.
Let's get more reaction to the assassination and turn to Mohammad Marandi. He's a political scientist at Tehran University. Iran has vowed revenge for this assassination. How might we see Iran retaliate for this?
Well, first I must correct two major mistakes in your introduction. One is quoting an opposition group that's supported by Western regimes, I think is not very useful. The information about his personality and his life is well available in Iran, and Iran never told the IAEA that he was a low-ranking official. All the other information is open and easy for everyone to access, plus a lot more. In addition to that, Western intelligence agencies never concluded that Iran was pursuing a nuclear weapon. That has always been speculation, and in fact, it was the Israeli regime that manufactured a laptop to present to the international community in order to fabricate the notion or to create the notion that Iran was developing a nuclear weapon. So these were accusations. Iran, over the past few years, has had the most access to its nuclear program than any other country, and there's been no solid information to show that Iran ever pursued a nuclear weapon, contrary to Western media and Western governments, their claims. But I think there will definitely be a response. He was the deputy minister of defense, so that was an act of war against the Iranian people. And I think that if a similar event had taken place in any capital in the world, it would also be considered as an act of war.
What does this assassination mean for Iran's nuclear program?
Well, it doesn't affect the scientific aspect of Iran's nuclear program because he was involved in the nuclear program and was a key figure many years ago when it was a small program. Now Iran has many scientists, many young scientists, and the program has been developed into many different areas, and so therefore his murder doesn't have a scientific impact. But it does outrage Iranians that foreign regimes would have the audacity to murder people, including public figures and public servants, in front of children and women on the streets of Iran. So I think the main effect is that it's going to make Iran more determined to retaliate against its antagonists in a way in which would deter them from carrying out further acts of atrocities against Iranians.
President-elect Joe Biden will be inaugurated in just a few weeks. How will this likely complicate any efforts that he may make to try to return America to the Iran nuclear deal?
Well, Iran isn't very optimistic about Biden because at the end of the day, the dirty war in Syria was led by Obama and Biden. The destruction of Yemen was carried out with the support of Obama and Biden. The destruction of Libya was also carried out with, the direct involvement of the United States under Obama and Biden. And it was Obama and Biden that initiated the maximum pressure campaign that Trump pursued at an even higher level. The sanctions that Obama and Biden imposed on ordinary Iranians during their period in the White House was called crippling sanctions. In other words, the US president at the time wanted to cripple ordinary Iranians as much as possible, and back then people died as well as today when people are dying as a result of shortages due to these sanctions. So there are no great expectations, but of course, since Biden wants to be seen as the opposite of Trump, just as Trump wanted to be seen as the opposite of Obama, there is a chance that Biden may behave more reasonably and in line with some more reasonable countries in the international community, such as European countries, which are a bit more reasonable than the United States. But that is not going to deter Iran from retaliating against those countries that have carried out an act of aggression. So I think that as soon as the investigation has been completed, or at least the first stage of the investigation, when Iran figures out who is behind this, I think that there will be a serious response, and it may not be far off.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Mohammad Marandi in Tehran. Thank you.